So again, mine also on the disc profile. I think I shared this before. My natural dominant style, I realized that it can shut people down. So I think when you presented what are the good days and bad days for each style. So definitely learning to balance that to become more like a influencer, inviting more voices and listening.
Thinking about other people and not only their disc profile, but like how they process things. But just thinking about everybody else and how I come across. I think just having the community of our group. So it's nice to see people from other places, but also hear what they have to say because they have a completely different perspective.
The disc assessment and the different personalities. I've used that more now, not just with my colleagues in practice and directorship, but with the residents.
And I loved the assigning other people tasks within the meeting was a big one for me so that you can focus on the emotional tone of the room and kind of really listening to what they're saying. Like forming these new neural pathways, like doctoring kind of comes like a little bit more naturally and we're used to that routine and you kind of can get in a flow there, but like being intentional about every interaction you have as a leader.
How to make a request, right? That A, B, C, D, and E of not if yes, it's kind of asking for help, but it's also making a request. And then if you say, oh, hey, I need your help and they help, then they feel valuable. That really helps me to kind of self-reflect of, oh, okay, like this is why this is. And then knowing, oh, this is how other people are and how to talk to them and resolve conflicts with that. The biggest part has been the small groups. Again, I am more open if I'm in a smaller group than a larger group. I've really appreciated the back and forth between all of the clinicians of saying, hey, what would you do in this situation? Or, oh, yes, like I've come across that the small groups to me personally have been fantastic. I also love that it's clinician. We as clinicians have very specific needs. And I really like that self-reflection.
I think the DISC assessment was the most beneficial assessment that I've done to help understand other people that you're working with every day or residents. I thought every video, every month was pertinent. This really doesn't occupy a ton of your time. It's once a month, a 30-minute small group, which I love as well.
If you want to be effective, hitting the pause button throughout our busy lives and like putting something like this in place was really important. I do think in your busy life, you are not gonna like think intentionally about this role because we just get thrust into leadership roles and being able to get, yes, just very usable, very applicable tools, one or two things from each session. And then I love the flipped classroom of kind of doing the video, chatting with you all, and then like kind of putting it in practice, like using that lens as you interact with others for the next few weeks. Like that process over and over was really helpful.
A lot of this stuff is not necessarily overly intuitive to me, at least. I mean, it makes sense now that we've talked about these things, and it's just not understanding that people communicate differently. Like if I'm in a meeting and people are not wanting to speak up, sometimes I naturally sort of devalue those people because I'm like, well, if you don't want to speak up, you must not have something worth saying. Having this has helped me kind of process these things in a much more mature way.
So I feel like I'm getting better building blocks on how to do this more efficiently, and do it better than the assumptions I made before.
It is potentially a little bit like a foreign language where it may not be a natural thing for us to understand how it can work well unless we have some training. I do think the training sessions have been paced nicely. And I do like, actually, in a lot of ways, that it's paced out over a long period of time because it allows for us to maybe have life experiences during that time where maybe we are leading meetings or being part of a team where these things are kind of consistently on our minds rather than this just being like a 1 day power course where we get a checkbox.
As physicians, we're always, the personality type, we're always trying to learn and grow. And I think, this has been value, not just for leadership, but for other things as well.
When I'm having a one-on-one and I know that an individual is, opposite of me, how do I, talk with them? Whether somebody wants to do leadership, then I think it's even more important. But even if they're not 100% sure, I think it's just a great thing to be a part of. Sometimes you're afraid to speak up because you're like, am I the only one who's feeling kind of lost? Because everyone's nodding and everyone's kind of looks like they know what's going on. But then when you start talking, it's like, no, actually nobody knows what's going on. So yeah, so I think it's been really helpful, like candid conversations.
We had a problem with very little physician engagement in any of our meetings. Significantly improved physician engagement and productivity.
Early on in anybody's career, they should do a course like this.
I mean, I think it's good for any physician to do some type of course like this, whether they're in a formal leadership role or not. I think that this has been helpful for creating a lot of insight into just having a very effective team in general.
I think it's almost mandatory, or it should be, because we're all taught to think and act in a certain way throughout our education and training as a physician, and being part of an organization and understanding how to navigate and do things effectively. These kind of things help you deal with some of the burnouts. You're interacting with other people who are outside of your silo, and it's a safe space.
I think it's a great side effect. I mean, one I was hoping to get when I joined the group too is just to meet people outside of my silo.
If you do it, I would say definitely do it. If you just wanted to grow, not just as a leader, but a better human, I think it's a very good group discussion. We've been having fun. It's a blast.
I love that growing as a human.